Welcome to the Pharmacy Marketing Profits Podcast, the show that reveals how to take your independent pharmacy to the next level. Hear from professionals in the industry as they share their stories of success and inspire you. You'll also discover how to attract more customers with effective digital marketing strategies. Here is your host, Shane Gebhardt.
Glad you guys could be here. Welcome to the new 2020 SEO Formula for Independent Pharmacies webinar. This is a webinar part of our webinar series that we do. We usually do at least one a month on various topics. We've had quite a few done already this year, being that we're in the 5th month of the year. We've done your internet marketing plan for 2020 back in January and February, and then coronavirus hit. So we did a couple of COVID-19 webinars. Those are available on our YouTube page and our website, in our blog and stuff like that. So you can always go back and check those out. So let's dive right in. All right. Why isn't that working? There it goes. Okay. So like I said, this is I kind of like to show this graphic because this is a bigger part of the picture of what all goes into your digital marketing strategy. So I like to show this graphic because you can see we got website. We did a webinar on website conversion and tactics for that and things you need to be paying attention to. That was one of our past webinars. So now we're working on the topic of search engine optimization. So that's the idea behind this webinar. So we're going to dive right in and walk you guys through this. So a couple housekeeping things. Turn off your cell phones, turn off Facebook and the notifications. If you're a pharmacy owner or you manage a pharmacy, and you're serious about getting better results online, the next 90 minutes will change your business. So be here, be in the moment, take the information in, ask questions. That's what we're here for, because there's a lot of information. So I want to make sure we get through it. So what we'll cover today, the latest updates with the Google algorithm. So this is an ever-changing, ongoing thing. They're constantly refining things, making changes, making improvements. So there's always something going on. So we're gonna cover the latest updates with the algorithm, the things that you may have put in place in the past for your website that could be hurting you now. So like I said, this is an always changing thing. So there's some stuff, old SEO tactics. And for those that don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. So there's some old tactics that may be hurting you today. So it's important to know what those are and take care of those and get those fixed so that you can continue to improve your rankings and give Google what it wants. And then we're going to show you how to optimize your website using the new SEO formula based on the updated algorithm. Okay. So quick thing that I like to go through is for those who aren't familiar, who I am and why you should listen to me. My name is Shane Gebhardt. I'm the founder and CEO of Pharmacy Ignite. So we're a digital marketing agency that specializes in independent pharmacies. I'm the author of the Complete Guide to Internet Marketing for Pharmacies: How to Ignite Your Pharmacy Growth Online. You can find that book on our website. You can actually get it for free. The digital version, if you want the paperback version, you can go on Amazon and get it there. I've spoken at multiple buying groups all over the country and, different conferences and stuff like that. Widely accepted as one of the experts in internet marketing for independent pharmacies. Cause like I said, that's what we do day in and day out. And we currently work with pharmacy owners all over the country, in their digital marketing efforts. So, we've been doing this for a while. So a big question we get, and obviously the topic for today's webinar is, does SEO still matter? And there's a lot of, speculation, discrepancy, however you want to word it, back and forth. Is SEO even important for pharmacies? The answer is astoundingly yes. And SEO does still matter because there is search volume, and we'll go over that here in just a little bit. But there's people using Google and Bing to find pharmacies and find services that they need that pharmacies provide. So your pharmacy needs to be present. It needs to be showing up. It needs to be getting that traffic and getting those clicks so you can win that business and ultimately win that person as a customer. Hopefully get them, in there, having them fill their prescription with you guys, and so on. So yes, SEO does still matter. Just pulled up a random, search here, Jacksonville Pharmacy. So you can see, there's ads being run on this, and we'll go over that in a little bit. You can see the ad up here. You can see this is what we call the map pack. And then down below this would be what we call the organic results. So yeah, there's basically, you can look at this and say, you know, these pharmacies right here are the ones getting the majority of the clicks. So, you know, when someone does a search and they're searching for something, they usually just tend to click on one of the first couple that they see, thinking Google is providing them the best result and that would be the best pharmacy for them. Now, we know that's not always the case. You know, there's going to be pharmacies that show up that don't do as good a job as other pharmacies and so forth, but that's not what the end user perceives, right? We inherently just think, according to Google, okay, they would put the best result in front of me, so that's what I'm going to click, but that's not always the case. So you can see, and like I said, this was just a random one that I decided to throw in here, but you know, I have a little tool on here, but this term right here, Jacksonville Pharmacy, that gets 140 people per month typing that in. So all these pharmacies right here, they're the ones getting those clicks. They're the ones getting those phone calls. You know, if this, I did this on my computer, but if this was a mobile search, you know, this would be the little telephone icon and people would be clicking to call them, as opposed to anyone else that's not showing up here. So, you know, the cost per click on this one keyword is $4.30. So that's what this person right here is paying. They're paying $4.30 every time someone clicks on their link to be at the top right here. But again, this comes with some caveats and a few things that we'll cover as we get farther into this. But just wanted to kind of give you a brief explanation on how the search results page is laid out and what to be paying attention to when it comes to this. So 71% of the clicks occur right here. Okay. That's one of the latest statistics that's come out. It's not, I should have put 3 arrows. It's not the first and the third. It's the top 3, the map pack. So don't think that you have to be in the A or C spot and the B spot doesn't get anything. It should be 3 arrows. But 71% of the clicks live right here. So out of that 140 people, 71% are gonna stay here in the map pack. And then a further stat that I don't have on here, but 67% of the clicks will stay within the top 5 results. So once they get past this map pack, the next 2 results will get clicks as well. So you can see, pretty astounding that the majority of the traffic, you know, stays here. So yes, SEO still matters. It's still very important. It needs to be a part of the strategy because it needs to be part of the ongoing strategy is a better way of saying it as well. Because once you achieve certain rankings for your pharmacy, you can maintain those rankings for a lot less of your budget and still get the same amount of traffic. So in the long run, it becomes much cheaper than the AdWords, like the part we were looking up at the top here. Let me go back right here. It becomes much cheaper in the long run because once you have this organic ranking, you're not paying $4.30 every single time someone clicks on your listing, right? These guys don't have to pay if I click the website button or the directions or to call or to look at their profile, but this person does. So you can see over time, it becomes much more beneficial to be in the map pack and what we call the organic rankings as opposed to paying for the traffic. But the counter to that is this takes time. So part of the strategy could be to supplement your SEO strategy with Google AdWords and to get some immediate, what we call immediate rankings until your organic rankings catch up. Okay. So yes, SEO still matters. So the 4 biggest changes, let's go through these. So you can no longer get away with duplicate content. Okay. So it used to be understood that duplicate content was okay to a certain degree. It's slowly moving away from that more and more with each algorithm update. Now it's more about unique content on every page, and we'll dive deeper into that. But you can no longer get away with that duplicate content in the same sense that you could before. Low quality links pointed back to your website could hurt you. So one of the algorithm updates before this latest one addressed this, and we'll go through that as well. But we want to make sure we're getting high quality links that make sense. The days of being able to rank your website with just a bunch of links and it being a numbers game are no longer the case. They need to be good quality links, and they need to be relative and have some trust behind them and all that. So we'll go into that as well. You need a real physical location to rank well on Google Maps. This is pretty self-explanatory in the pharmacy world. You know, everybody pretty much has a real physical location, but nonetheless, it's important. You know, it's it's not as easy to rank in the maps without that real physical location as it used to be. We'll go into that as well. And then site speed. This one gets overlooked quite a bit, but site speed is considered a ranking factor. Google looks at it because you got to think about it in this regard. Google's job is to return the best results, and it hurts them if they put a slow loading website at the top of the rankings and people are clicking on it and getting frustrated and constantly going back and trying another one, and it hurts their overall purpose, right? They want to provide the best result. The best result is a fast website, right? So you can no longer get away with duplicate content. Why avoid duplicate content? Most pharmacies serve a semi-wide radius. Lots of little cities, towns, suburbs, if you will. Just depends. All these cities nowadays, depending on the size of the city, have suburbs and neighborhoods and things with different addresses. So it used to be commonplace to set up pages for each city / suburb and keep everything the same, just basically mirror the page and duplicate it over and over again and just change, the location, the city, the suburb. That is no longer the best way to do it. And based on the numbers and everything that we're seeing now, you want to have some you want to have some unique content for each page. So don't just copy and paste, the same 3 paragraphs onto each page and call it a different page and expect it to do well. It could still rank. I'm not saying that it won't, but basically we want that unique content. We don't want to keep duplicating. Lots of guys set up microsite targeting different cities with the same content, only changing the cities along the way. Again, this is an old tactic. We're moving away from this into the new formula, which we'll get into. And your pages must be unique from one page to the next and from one site to the next. So it used to be widely known that on a local level, duplicate content was not a big deal. Again, like I said, it's moving away from that. So we want to avoid duplicate content as much as possible and move into the more unique side of things. Too many irrelevant / low quality links pointed back to your website could actually hurt you. So with this, what we're looking at is basically, it used to be all about links, right? It used to be all about just the sheer number. If you had more than the next guy, you would rank them, you would outrank them based on just the sheer number, right? But that's no longer the case. The Penguin update addressed that, and now it's all about quality and relevant links. Like I was saying before, we want the good quality links, and we want links that make sense. It doesn't make sense for a website about cats and dogs or whatever to be linking to a pharmacy website, unless, well, in that case, that's a bad example. That actually might be okay, because you could be talking about if your pharmacy does medication for animals. But for instance, just pick a scuba diving website linking back to your pharmacy website wouldn't make sense. So we want to make sure that the links make sense and look natural. You're going to have to review your link profile, find the bad links, and then either have them removed or disavowed. So that's the point that I was making early on, is things that you did in the past, you might have to undo it. So you might need to go in or have your marketing company or SEO company go in and undo these links or disavow them. And that will help you increase your rankings, because Google's looking at this. If they see those low quality, irrelevant links, it could hurt you in your rankings. So you're going to want to get those taken care of. And you're going to want to work to diversify your anchor text and build more high quality and relevant links. So for anchor text explanation, that's kind of a technical term. That is the text that is the actual link that people click on. So if the link says, ABC Pharmacy, that's what actually gets clicked on to go to that pharmacy's website. That's what's called the anchor text. Okay. So we want to have diverse anchor text. We don't want every single link pointing back to the website to be the same exact anchor text. And usually your keywords that you're going after. So if you're trying to rank for Jacksonville Pharmacy, you could use that as an anchor text for some of your anchor text. You're not going to use it for all, but that's sending the signal back to Google that you're a Jacksonville Pharmacy. Okay. So we want to make sure we diversify those and build the high quality relevant links. You need a real physical location to rank well on Google Maps. Again, like I said, this is pretty straightforward, but Google Maps had a major change with the Google Pigeon update. It primarily addressed the local map listings. It took a major toll on anyone who was playing the game of multiple fake addresses or tried using UPS stores, mailboxes, virtual offices. There's tactics, that people try where, let's say a pharmacy wants to show up in like one town over and try to get some people, if it's close enough, coming to them. They might get a UPS mailbox or a virtual office address and say that that's a second location, and then send that traffic back to their website and try to get people over to them. So that's a tactic that we've seen before, but that update that Google did, the pigeon update, took a toll on that. So it's not easy to do like it used to be. It's very difficult to pull that off now. You need a real physical address in the city that you want to rank. So site speed matters. An example here of where to go. How fast your website loads plays a role in your rankings. Mobile and desktop must be considered. If you go to Google PageSpeed Insights, you can actually check the score, and the link's right down here. Easiest way to do it, since that's kind of a long link, is to just type in Google PageSpeed. It'll be the first one that comes up. Type in your URL right here. You'll see how fast your site is on mobile and desktop. Obviously, we're aiming for a 90 to 100 in Google's eyes. And then it'll tell you what tweaks need to be made. You can send that to your web developer or your marketing company, and they can take care of that for you. But this is important. We all know how fast everybody wants the information that they're trying to get, how impatient we are as a society these days. So anything loading over 2 seconds, people get frustrated. The bounce rate is what it's called, goes up because people are bouncing off the site pretty quickly because they're frustrated that they're not getting the information fast enough. So site speed definitely matters, and Google looks at this. So Google wants to showcase websites and put websites at the top of the rankings that load in the ideal amount of time. So we want to make sure we have ours dialed in and really performing like it should, so that we, one, appease Google, and two, we appease our audience as well. So it's a twofold thing. So what else has changed? Old-fashioned SEO is no longer effective. In the post panda, pigeon, penguin era, it's funny, they always use animals with their algorithm updates. It's all about user experience optimization. So Google wants us to think about, what is the user of our website? What's their experience? How can we optimize that? How can we make it a good experience for them so that they can get the information they want? Again, that's where site speed comes in. Site layout is a big deal. How they navigate your site, how easy is it for them to get, to different pages. All this plays an important factor in how well you do online. So the new SEO approach requires a heavy focus on user experience optimization. You want to think about it in terms of what your user is going to experience. So we like to get in that mindset when we're laying sites out, when we're working on sites, and think about it from that standpoint. Don't think about it. You understand things differently than your user would, so think about how easy you can make it for your user. That will go a long way, and people will appreciate that. So let's take a look. What are the new ranking factors? CTR is key. That's click-through rate. Okay, Google is looking at how many people click through to your website. That's a metric that they measure. You can actually look at this in Google Analytics. So it's something important to keep in mind when working on SEO, working on different things and page layouts and navigation and stuff like that. So click-through rate is key, because that's a direct reflection on how well you're doing. Scroll rate is essential. Are they scrolling down once they get to your homepage or your website? Anything that loads on your website that they see without scrolling is called above the fold. Okay, so as soon as they start scrolling, that's called below the fold. And basically, we want them to start scrolling. We want them to spend time on pages and interact with our website. We don't want them to just land on the website, like we were talking about earlier, see something and be like, nah, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be, or this isn't what I was looking for, I'm going back. We want them to interact. So time on page is a big deal. Again, Google Analytics, this is measured. You can see this in your analytics and your back end. So we want to make sure that we're measuring this, we're keeping an eye on this, and we want to increase that time on page. We want them to spend more time on the website. Bounce rate is something that, like I mentioned before, it's very important. We want to watch that very closely, because that's a direct indication. Are we satisfying our users in terms of giving them what they're looking for. If we're not, the bounce rate's going to go up and people are going to be leaving our website in big numbers because they're not getting the information they want. And then number of citations, reviews, and relevant links. So quick breakdown on this. A citation is any directory or listing on the web that has your pharmacy name, phone number, and address. Okay, it's NAP. N-A-P is what it's called. A citation includes that. So Facebook, Yelp, Merchant Circle, Vitals.com, all of these have your business information on them. Okay. Reviews, we all know what Google reviews are. And then relevant links, like we've been talking about, those are new ranking factors that we look at, and page speed. So we've talked about that one pretty in depth so far. So the new SEO formula, figure out what the most important keywords are based on your services, your area, and what the search volume is. So just like we were looking at that screenshot at the beginning with Jacksonville Pharmacy, we could see that one keyword had 140 what we call searches or search volume. So 140 different people per month use that term on average. It's not exact, but on average, to search for a pharmacy in Jacksonville. And that number will change just based on how you change the search term. So you could add Jacksonville FLs for Jacksonville, Florida pharmacy. That search number could go up or down. It just depends. And this is part of the research that needs to be done to figure out, okay, what are the most important keywords that people are using when it comes to what we do as pharmacies in our area, and what does that search volume look like? So a couple tools you can use: the Google Keyword Tool, WordStream, SpyFu, and Google AdWords. These are all tools that you can, and there's plenty more. If you go to Google and you just type in free keyword tool or keyword research tool, something along those lines, you'll get more options than you know what to do with. But these types of tools allow you to go in and figure out, okay, how many people are searching for these terms, and then it'll also give you suggestions based on what you type in. So if you type in something like Jacksonville Pharmacy, it'll show you, oh, hey, people are also searching for this, this, and this, and it'll tell you how many people are searching for it. So now you know, when it comes to your SEO, what keywords you need to look at and what keywords people are using in your area and where your customers are. So then you're going to set up a great website with unique pages targeting those keywords, right? We're going to have pages for each service and each city or suburb in the area that you serve. So any service you have, you should be making a page for it, and any location that you serve should have a page as well, because what Google wants to show pages that are dedicated to the search term. So if the search term is pharmacy in Jacksonville, it's going to want a page that is dedicated to a pharmacy in Jacksonville. It's not going to serve up a page that's pharmacy in Orlando or anything like that. It's going to serve up what people are searching. That's what's going to rank better. All right. Optimize your website for the user experience. Optimize your site for SEO, on-site optimization. Build your authority, which is off-site optimization. We'll get into that. And then track your results. You can't progress through anything in marketing or even in life without tracking the results. So that's the name of the game. Have analytics installed and track the results. Have a rank tracker, which we'll look at in place as well. Tracking your keywords so that okay, I'm moving up in the rankings, or I'm going down. I need to make some tweaks, right? So we got to track the results. So takeaways, what'd you learn? What'd you notice? If you'd like to share anything, I should have mentioned early on, we've got the chat, we've got Q&A. If you have any questions as we're going, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll certainly cover them. There's a Q&A section on Zoom, and there's a chat section. I have both of them open for you guys. So if you put anything in there, I can address it as we go. But definitely, take some notes, and keep track of what we're going over here as we go through this. So now we're going to take a look at pharmacy keywords, and I've got some examples here for you just to kind of get the brain going. These are some of the more common ones we see. There can be hundreds, right? There's so many variations here that can come up, but this is kind of a good starting point to look at. So the main keyword obviously is your city plus pharmacy, or pharmacy plus your city. It can be backwards, depending. Some people search, but usually the keyword volume will be the same because Google looks at that as pretty much the same search. It's just flip-flopped. Same thing, your city plus pharmacies, your city plus drugstore, and you can see how the list goes here. Medication, if you do medical equipment, if you're a compounding pharmacy, drugstores, plural, medicine delivery, drive-through pharmacy, with those keyword volumes have really jumped up here, obviously with what's been going on with COVID-19, immunizations, etc. You can see where this is going, but sit down and make a list of all the services you have, and then those are basically your keywords, along with pharmacy, drugstore, those more general terms. That's going to be your keyword list. So that's the simplest way to tackle that. So now we're going to take a look at on-site optimization. So a strong website with good content and user experience, that's UXO versus SEO. We want to leverage multimedia to improve on-page time. So we were talking about that time spent on your website. So a good way to do this is through video. Videos get people to stop and watch the video. They stop scrolling, they're going to watch the video. So that's a great way to get people to increase their time spent on your website. So definitely utilize video on each page. A good way to think about doing it is to have a video on the homepage. It could be a welcome video from the pharmacy owner or the manager or the entire team, or however you want to structure it. You could do something welcoming people to the website. Each service page could have its own video where you explain how you do that service, what separates yours from the competitors, really gives people a good understanding of that service. The About Us page, you could do videos introducing each of your team members. You could do pharmacy walkthroughs, kind of a virtual tour, if you will. So there's a lot you can do to add multimedia to improve on-page time, and then you can use that multimedia obviously on SEO or on social media, on YouTube, on all these different platforms as well. It's not just on your website. It can be used in a lot of different ways, but it's good to have it on your website to increase that on-page time. Pages for each of your services, like we talked about. With that video, pages for the cities that you serve or suburbs. So if there's some kind of suburb that's just right around the corner from you, make a page for that, and definitely incorporate that, because if that's just a couple miles up the road, people will be searching in that suburb or that area, and they can come to you, and so you want to be showing up for those search results. You want the unique content on every page, like we talked about in the beginning. Some technical sides of this: you want your keywords in the title of your page, and the H1 is called the header. So there's H1 through H6, right? H1 is one of the headers. It's pretty much the main header that Google looks at to determine what a page is about. So having the keyword Jacksonville Pharmacy, we'll stick with that example, having that keyword in the H1 and in the title of the page will help the optimization of the on page for your SEO. The meta description. So when you Google something, the meta description is the little paragraph that you can see while you're still on Google that tells you what the page is about. That's the way to approach this. That's what sells the click, right? That's what's going to get people to decide whether or not they're going to click on your website. So if you're first, second, third, 10th in the rankings, whatever it may be, they see that. Give them the reason as to why they should click on your link to go to your website. Sell the click. So be very, very descriptive in how you describe, that page, and tell them, click on this page to learn more about us and meet our team and why we are the best pharmacy in Jacksonville, or something, along those lines. So sell the click. Make sure to include the name, address, phone number in the footer of your website. This ties back into the citations that we were talking about. This sends the signal to Google that NAP matches all the citations that are out there for your business, your pharmacy. So that correlates, that ties together. So we want to make sure that that's on there. And then we want to make sure we have a blog on the website with ongoing updates, so that, you might have heard at some point that Google likes to see activity on websites. A blog accomplishes that. If you're posting to your blog once a week or every couple times a month or once a month, whatever the frequency is, Google's algorithm's picking up on that, because it has to index the content. It has to index the page, and then make sure that's getting syndicated out. So what I mean by that is make sure that blog post is going onto your Facebook page, onto your in your email marketing. Make sure that it's getting syndicated out to all your different channels, so that your people can see it, your users can see it. And again, focus on page speed for desktop and mobile. So that's the on-site stuff. That's actually the stuff that you can do on your website. That's one side of SEO. The other side of SEO is what's called off-page, and we're going to look at that here in a sec. So a live example, Hubbard Young Pharmacy. This is one of the pharmacies we work with that we kind of talk about a good bit. But you can see they've got that #1 ranking. So just this keyword right here happens to have one of their keywords, 90 searches a month, almost a $5 cost per click. So if we were running an ad up here, it would cost them $5 every time somebody wanted to click on that. But because we have the #1 ranking, we're getting those clicks for nothing. So as long as we keep that, we're getting that traffic straight to our website, making the calls, choosing them to do business with, right? So we want to make sure that we achieve that top 3 ranking, so we don't have to pay $5 a click. So again, takeaways. Again, if you have any questions, if you want me to address something, pop it into the chat, pop it into the Q&A. If you want to share something, by all means, feel free to. I'm not seeing anything in there yet, so we'll just keep on rolling through. So off-page SEO, it's time to talk about this. Like I said, there's 2 sides. There's on-page, all the stuff that you can actually do on your website, on the page, and off-page. Okay, so this is other items that include link building and building authority and whatnot. So first thing, we want to make sure we claim and optimize the Google My Business listing. So I'm going to go back real quick to this. This would not show up without having the Google My Business listing. That's what this is. Google has to have the listing in their directory to be able to show it. Okay, so you can go to business.google.com and claim that if you haven't already. You want to make sure you have control of that, not somebody else. And it's pretty easy. It'll walk you through it step by step, and they'll send you a verification postcard. And then you now own the listing, and you can optimize it so you can control the hours, make sure the information's correct, the business, pharmacy hours, put photos on there, respond to your reviews, all that good stuff. So it's extremely important that we claim and optimize that for what Google wants. We want to get lots of citations across the web. So unlike just plain backlinks like we were talking about, where it used to be just a numbers game, citations is still a numbers game. We want as many good citations as we can get with correct information, correct name, address, and phone number. The more we can get, the better. Our typical rule of thumb for any of our clients that we work with is find all their competitors, see how many citations they have, and then do 50 more than the next guy. So we want to make sure we always have more than the next person for our clients, just to ensure that we have a better base profile in Google's eyes. So get lots of citations across the web. If you just Google top business citations, you can get a list of the top 50 and set all those up, in a day or so. So we want to build up our online reviews, leveraging, best-in-class tools like Nearby Now, Bird Eye, Review Buzz, Customer Lobby, Podium. We want to make sure we're pushing reviews to our Google My Business, because that is a ranking factor that Google looks at. So we want to make sure that we're actively pushing reviews towards that. We want to build authoritative links back to your website from other websites. So these are the backlinks that we talked about with the anchor text. We want the links to be authoritative, trustworthy, and not from spammy websites or anything along those lines. Strategic content syndication. This is, I apologize if you hear some background noise. A big thunderstorm just rolled in. So strategic content syndication. We want to make sure we're getting our content, like our blog content, out there syndicated, like we talked about. This builds backlinks for your website as well. If your blog is getting published on all these different websites that I'm going to show you here in a second, those are backlinks that Google picks up on, and they see that. So a simple blog post, though, on your site simply won't cut it anymore. Okay, so we're going to dive into this strategy here on how we do things and kind of what the new expectation is. So just writing a blog and putting it on the blog and calling it a day is not going to cut it. Like I said, it requires a new approach, and we call this the new authority signal generation approach. So we now have access. We use this cutting edge content marketing platform for authority signal generation and building EAT to achieve superior search visibility. So what this is basically Google has a lot of things they're looking at, and the algorithm has over 200 ranking factors that basically it's taking into consideration, so that it can decide, okay, whose website should be at the top. And so part of that is what we call EAT: expertise, authority, and trust. Okay. So we want to satisfy the search algorithms for these things. So expertise is quality, structured, and media-rich content. So authority, if you're being published on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, etc., that's providing authority. And trust, we want to pass trust and page rank with link signals, which imply trust. Okay, so over here you can see this local pack / finder ranking factors. Number one is Google My Business signals. So we were just talking about Google My Business, the proximity of the searcher, the categories, the keyword in the business title, link signals. So this is what we're talking about with anchor text, linking domain authority, linking domain quantity, review signals. All this you can see: on-page signals, citation signals, behavior signals, personalization, and it just goes down the list here. But Google My Business is 25% of it. Links are 16% of it. Reviews are 15% of it. Those are your big factors. Localized organic ranking factors, very similar, but it's looking at link signals is almost 27%. On-page signals, presence of NAP, like we've been talking about, NAP, the keywords and the titles, all this stuff we've been talking about is 26%. Behavioral signals, the click-through rate, the mobile clicks to call, that's 11% of the factors. So you can see how each of these has its own piece of the pie. Each of this has its own piece of the puzzle, and we want to make sure that we're satisfying each piece to build a complete pie, right? So definitely screenshot this, or I'll have a replay of this, but that's a very important thing to consider when it comes to your SEO strategy is, are you crossing off all these factors? Are we covering everything we need to be, when it comes to this? This is a cool thing that we have here. Sorry, you can see my dog's walking behind me here. The SEO periodic table, quality research. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into here, authority, structure. This is just kind of a cool thing that these guys made up, this little graph. But you can see this is all stuff that gets factored into SEO rankings. Do you have an SSL on your site, the HTTPS, your site speed, multimedia, URLs, freshness, duplicate content, mobile friendly, keywords, it all factors in to it. So definitely a really cool chart and something to keep in mind. So page quality ranking, is one of the most important factors. Here are the most important factors to consider when selecting an overall page quality ranking. The purpose of the page, like we talked about, is it relating to the keyword, the expertise, the authoritativeness, the trustworthy? So that's the EAT, the EAT. The main content quality and the amount, the website information, who is responsible for the main content, and then the website reputation, again, factors into this as well. So all about expertise, authority, and trust. Google wants to make sure that we're giving them websites that they know they can put in the search results so that when users click on them, they get what they're looking for. So Google uses a different algorithm for local searches, which places importance on 3 important ranking categories and their supporting signals. Proximity. This has become a big one over the years with mobile phones and people being able to search stuff and being able to search it based on where they are. So how close is the place of business for the person searching? Using zip codes and geocoordinates in your content. The rest you really can't control. So the best thing you can do is make sure you have the zip code. There's some tactics as far as using your photos and putting geocoordinates in it to kind of show where that photo was taken. That kind of factors into it as well. So proximity is one of those signals. Relevance. How relevant is the search term for the business? Is the content optimized, and the on-page signals is the use of business categories in the content section headings? Niche citations. So again, there's different kinds of citations. Typically, any citation is a good citation, is kind of rule of thumb. But when we say niche citations, what we mean is vitals.com, You know, that's a niche citation because it pertains to medical. You know, you're not going to want to get citations on something like a lawyer's website, like avo.com is a lawyer website. There's no reason to have a citation on that because it's in a different niche. It's not in the pharmacy niche, right? So we want to make sure that we have the main ones, the general ones, like Merchant Circle and all that. But we also want to make sure we have the niche ones that are super relevant to our category. All right. Prominence. So what's the authority of the local business? The EAT profile, brand mentions, link signals, the number of reviews versus your competition, like we talked about. Using syndication will dramatically improve the prominence of the entity and author over 3 to 6 months. So syndicating those blog posts out, syndicating your content out, is going to, like it says here, dramatically improve the entity, which is your website, because it's getting you placed on different websites and in Google's eyes. That means it's like those websites are vouching for your website and vouching for your content because that content is on their website. If it was bad, they wouldn't put it on their website. So it's almost like they're saying, this content is good, we vouch for it, we're going to put it on our website. So just so you can see here some real results, I took a quick screenshot. 135 rankings gone up, 102 in new. So that's what we're looking for every month, and there's constant fluctuation here. So you'll see things go up, down, move all over the place, but we're looking for up and we're looking for new backlinks. So we're always paying attention to that. So I'm going to click through this just to get the page all loaded out so we can look through this. So on page, we want to make sure, again, we have pages for each service, the main cities / suburbs, optimize the titles, H1s, URLs, images, and unique content for all pages. The GMB, which is the Google My Business, you want to make sure you claim and optimize maps, add to Yext or some other citation management platform. And we want to make sure we get it sent to the major data aggregators. There's 4 major data aggregators, which will send your business information out to hundreds of websites around the web that can list your business information, hundreds of directories, so you can get all those citations. So put a system in place for driving online reviews, like we talked about. Add new citations on an ongoing basis. So that should be done every month. Be looking for new citations you can add. It's just like reviews and citations go hand in hand. Just keep getting them, keep stacking the number up. Ongoing content, we want to push out new blog posts and syndicate via the signal engine like we were just talking about, and we want to leverage our signals. So the EAT, expertise, authority, and trust, multiple do follow backlinks back to the client website, GMB listing and internal pages on the website, multiple map embeds, and fresh content on the site regularly. So that's really, in a nutshell, the big picture of what should be happening with search engine optimization. All right, so again, back to the new SEO formula. Set up the great website with the pages with each of your services for each of the cities / suburbs that you serve. Get your keyword and geo modifier in the title of each page. Use unique content on every page. Leverage multimedia to enhance the time on the page and reduce the bounce rate. Get your online reviews across the web, especially on Google. Build your citations and consistently build citations. Post updated content on an ongoing basis, at least once a month, if not once every other week or something along those lines. Build your links and authority. Leverage paid search to identify the high converting keywords. So that's what we were talking about in the beginning with paying for that search, putting that ad at the top. You can quickly realize, okay, I'm going to put a little bit of budget towards these keywords and I'm going to track how many clicks we're getting from it. And then you'll know if you're getting a lot of clicks from 1 or 2 or all the keywords or whatever it is, the results will tell you, okay, I've got a really high converting keyword here. This is one that I need to work on getting good search engine rankings for. So you can ultimately turn that ad off, increase your rankings, and now you've been able to determine that you had a high converting keyword, one that your potential customers are using. Okay. So I know we covered a lot. Again, if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Takeaways, what you learned, what you noticed. If you have any specific questions, anything you want me to revisit, anything you'd like to share, please feel free to pop it in the chat or the Q&A section. And really, I know I kind of, like I said, I went through it moderately fast, but there was a lot to cover, and I wanted to make sure, about 45 minutes. I don't want to keep you here for 2 hours and get super technical on everything. I want it to be kind of big picture, see the big picture, understand what goes into it, the new way to rank websites, the most effective way to get your pharmacy to the top of the rankings. So again, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we can address those. But if you want help with some of this, post "Let's Talk" in the comments, and we can I can offer you a free SEO review where we'll do an analysis of the online visibility for your pharmacy. We can create you that custom keyword list for your most important terms, so we can do that for you. Show you a ranking port where you currently rank, versus your competitions and how well you're doing. An analysis of all your online directories, the listings, and the consistency. It's always pretty shocking to people when they realize how many inconsistent listings they have around the web. We can do an analysis on the online reviews and the reputation, and find reviews around the web that you probably didn't know were out there. Take an analysis of the social presence, an analysis of the website conversion effectiveness. So if you already have a website for your pharmacy, we can definitely look at, how well it's converting, things we would change and whatnot. So that's definitely something we're happy to provide at no charge. So if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to reach out. You can call us at that number, or shane@pharmacyignite.com. That's my email. You can reach me there. And typically what we do is what we call a pharmacy acceleration session. So I don't have a slide in here for it, but that pharmacy acceleration session is a one-on-one Zoom session to where we jump on and look at all the stuff we just went through in that last slide. And actually even a few more things. I kind of tailored this one just to the SEO stuff because that's what this webinar was about, but we actually look at all of your social media, everything, from the website to the SEO, to the social media, to your reviews, to your ads. If you're doing any Facebook ads, Instagram ads, we'll take a look at those. So it's basically an overall analysis of everything you're doing online, and then we can create you a customized blueprint or game plan that you can then take and implement, to help your online growth and really take your pharmacy to the next level. So I see one comment in here. I will follow up with you for further analysis. Absolutely. Feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, Shane at Pharmacy Ignite. Tara said, thank you for all the great information. No problem. Like I said, this is something we like to do at least once a month on different topics. So, we want, pharmacy owners and managers to know that this stuff's important, and definitely get their thoughts around this as a part of their overall marketing strategy. So, like I said, if there's no questions, good information. Thank you. I appreciate it. If there's no specific questions or anything like that, there will be a recording and a replay of this that I'm going to send out. So you will have that you can resort back to at any time. So, but if there's no specific questions or anything like that, we can go ahead and wrap it up. But again, if you want to, I forgot to click the last button. If you want to schedule that pharmacy acceleration session, just go to pharmacyignite.com/schedule. And basically all you do is pick a time on the calendar. It drops you right onto my personal calendar. And it's a time that works best for you. And then we can jump on a Zoom call, go through everything, and see what we can do for you guys and how we can help you out. So can you provide the slides online? Absolutely. Yeah. So every time I finish one of these webinars, I upload the replay and I email it back out to everybody. And then I upload the slides to slideshare.com, and I can provide you that link as well, so you can see each slide, because I know there was some specific links in there that I shared and stuff like that you might want to get access to. So yeah, I will make sure you guys get that. But so we are approaching, the 2 o'clock hour here. Almost the 3 o'clock hour, excuse me. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I thank you guys for being on. I'm glad you set aside the time to be with us, and we'll definitely be getting this replay out to you, and we'll look forward to hopefully getting you on a pharmacy acceleration session or seeing you on the next webinar. So thank you again, guys, and we'll talk soon.
If you're looking for more information on how to attract more customers to your pharmacy, go to pharmacyignite.com and schedule your free pharmacy acceleration session with marketing expert and founder Shane Gebhardt. You can also join our free Pharmacy Marketing Mastermind Facebook group to learn from other pharmacy owners and managers. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review.